Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. So today I wanted to talk about the prototype knife that I'm currently working on and just talk a little bit about the feedback that I got from a lot of people at Blade Show West. So if you guys were at Blade Show West and you handled this, I just want to say thank you for your honest feedback, which is exactly what I wanted. And also to the people in the comments down below who gave me their honest view on this knife. It was definitely 50-50. So a lot of people were saying, keep it like this, keep it weird, it's a unique look. And some people were like, it's too bulky, which I agree. It's definitely on the bulky side. But it's really the only way I could fit this blade shape that I really like. 'Cause I love a big belly. So that's kind of why the rear of the handle is chunkier, a little bit fatter. But again, I had to have this blade shape in there just because it's just something I really like. Visually, it looks good to me, especially with the harpoon. And then you have just so much cutting edge, and I kind of was leaning more towards of a Skinner blade. So again, the bulkiness is there for that reason, and mainly due to the fact of this big belly blade. Again, at Blade Show, a lot of feedback from a lot of people. Smaller hands, big hands, medium-sized hands. So basically what I got from people with smaller hands, they definitely said it's definitely bulky at the end. However, for their small hands, it was very comfortable, and it surprised them, I guess, or at least that's what they told me. So people with smaller hands were surprised, which I was surprised at the fact that people with smaller hands were actually enjoying it in hand. So that made me feel a little bit better about the design. And then people with similar hand sizes as me, just a medium-sized hand, they enjoyed it. They didn't really have any issues. And then people with larger hands enjoyed it very much because I guess with larger hands it just seems smaller, so the bulkiness didn't really affect the comfort in their hand. And even the extra rounded, I made sure to round this corner here just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And then the final shaping with the bevels here on the bottom of the scale and then the top definitely makes it feel a little bit slimmer. So that's the reasoning behind those bevels. And to also go with the flow of the knife and just give it some more character. And I'm sure you guys are noticing these marks here, but these are some of the areas that I'm going to change a little bit and then also function a little bit better as a knife should function properly. And one of the people I was able to get this knife into their hands, which it still blows my mind, was Jens Anso, who you guys know is in collaboration with Jesper Voxness for Giant Mouse knives. Again, I turned the corner, looked at the Giant Mouse table, and he was there, which he's one of my favorite knife designers. So again, blew my mind. But I told myself I gotta go meet him and then also get this in his hands just to see what he says. So I went and had lunch real quick, and I went straight to the Giant Mouse booth. Patiently waited for him to be alone, and then I just introduced myself. And he came over to the concept table since I was representing concept. We were talking knives a little bit, and I had my opportunity, so I asked him if he would check out the prototype, which he was more than happy to do. And he gave me a lot of good advice. I think he was being honest, but he said visually it's not his knife, but in hand he was surprised with how comfortable it is. So that blew my mind again. So just really, really cool to meet him and have him check this out. I also checked out one of his handmade knives by him. He happened to be carrying one of his, so again that was really cool. But I don't want to dive too much into that. That's besides the point. But he pointed out, and just like everybody else at the show, really the only issue with this knife, which is just crazy. I was expecting a lot more to be said about it, but the finger choil is not deep enough, and when you're handling this knife, your finger is very very close to that edge. If this was a blade and it was sharpened, you would definitely cut your finger, which is something I noticed, but I wasn't too worried about since this is the first prototype, and I was kind of on a time crunch. This is very close to what I was trying to get. So again, that's what people pointed out. The finger choil was definitely not deep enough. So that is one issue I am addressing. And then for the front flipper, right here you can see the tab. When slow rolling it, it gets covered by the scale. So I'm going to shave this down just to have a little more exposed. You guys can see right there. If I just remove a little bit of more material, you can slow roll this knife with the front flipper tab and comfortably do it. So there'd be just enough room for that. And then also what I'm going to do is move the pivot just a little bit more forward, because on the lock bar side, it's way too close to the lock bar. So I have room to move it forward, which will allow me to actually make this not as bulky back here. And I'll show you guys pretty soon, or in just a moment, the new sketch of this knife. And as for the pocket clip, I know I can move it lower. Visually, I chose to do it in the center just because it looks good, but it was bothering a few people, especially the people with the smaller sized hands. So I think if I move it down and cover more of the cutout for the lock bar, I think it'll not only look better, but also be a lot more comfortable in hand, which already it is somewhat comfortable in hand, but I am noticing that if this whole pocket clip was moved down and just further back, it'd be a lot more comfortable in the palm. So that's definitely a change I'm going to do. And again, just really happy that the people who handled it gave me their honest opinions, and now I can do some slight modifications and make this knife what it should be for, I hope, everybody, and comfortable in hand. But I'm going to show you really quick what I sketched up. So this is kind of where it all started. This was the idea in mind. You can see that's pretty extreme. There's just no way it's going to work. But my goal was to get this as close as I could to this blade shape and get it into the handle. So if you guys watch the video of me sketching this, basically just me throwing down some ideas. If you haven't seen it already, I'll put a link up here. We can check out that video. But this is kind of where it was born. As you can see, the last one is what I kind of landed on. And I did a hole for deployment, but I just prefer thumb studs. That's just me. But who knows, maybe in the future we'll have a hole if this knife even gets picked up. But here it is where I did the modifications to what people were saying would fix the issues. So I'm going to just open this one up. You guys can see right here. So I'm going to line it up best I can. I moved some things around, but you can see a lot deeper finger choil, and you're actually going to get more blade out of it. So I think that's cool. And then over here, you can see as I push up, I removed a bit of material. I'd say about maybe 1/8 of an inch all the way down. So the knife will be a little bit slimmer. So I was able to slim it down in the back, and then I dropped it just a little more here in the front, so you can get more finger protection, if you will, right? So these are the changes I did from the feedback that I got from everybody, and I'm thankful that everybody was able to do just that and help me out. Truly appreciate it. So this is kind of the final rendition here. So I need to make this knife again. I'm going to do the same thing, just make it out of G10, and then see exactly how everything works and do my best to get this going. And don't mind these other knives, they're just some quick ideas I had. But I did end up doing a mini version. So as you guys can see, I'd say it's, I don't know, 2 inches smaller. But I just wanted to see what it would look like smaller, and I'm really, really liking this, especially since I love smaller knives. And another thing I am currently doing is I just used some tracing paper to trace this design. I'm going to use this paper since it's a lot thicker to make sure everything functions properly. And I have the hardware in the right location. And maybe I did this because a knife company wants to check it out, but we'll see. I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but I'm getting pretty excited about this since I'm reaching out to quite a few knife manufacturers, and they just kind of want to know the blueprint, measurements, all that kind of stuff. So I might even hire someone who knows how to do Fusion 360 to get a digital version of it, so I guess the companies can see how it works. So we're just really, really excited about it, and I just want to thank you guys a lot for not only motivating me, but giving me feedback on on this prototype knife, which I never even thought I'd get to this point in life. So, like I said, just thank you very much. Really, really excited to get this out into the world. And I'm going to do my best to do just that. And I will keep you updated on this knife, just so you guys can just follow along with me. I guess share the experience of what I've learned. And I got to say, I'm learning a lot with this. So it's all very, very new to me, but the knife community is so awesome. I'm learning from just a lot of people, a lot of knife designers and knife makers that I spoke to at the show. So I cannot wait to hopefully one day bring you guys the news that it will go into production and I can get it into you guys' hands. So again, very excited. I really, really appreciate the support. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one.